we have Stunning Elm. And yeah, I'm really excited that all of you have joined us today. Now, it's very sad that we cannot talk to each other. So, we're going to make use of all the chat emojis and the thumbs up and the thumbs down reactions that we have. Okay, so everybody who can hear me right now and is excited for our first coding lesson today, please give me a great thumbs up or a hi. Welcome, Sasha. All right. So I'm going to give you a few guidelines on what we are going to do today. So we will be creating this maze game. Now, we have a beetle over here, and this beetle wants to cross the maze. And we want to make the beetle reach this outer edge of the maze. To do so, we are making this beetle walking through the maze through arrow keys, and anytime that it touches the black corners, it's gonna just bounce back. So our aim is to make it reach through this opening, and you can add some of the very cool few features on your own at the end, because there is no end to creativity. So we can see what all things we'll be adding on later on. So I request all of you to maximize my screen by going full screen over here whenever I'm demonstrating a step. And once I've done that, you guys should open your own Scratch window and complete the step. All right? Please give me a thumbs up if you're all clear and ready to make our first game in Scratch. Okay, so first up, we are going to create a new Scratch project. Please click on the link given below in the first step, which is create a new Scratch project. Okay, click on the step called create, and this is what the Scratch platform looks like. So I'm going to give you a bit of an idea of what Scratch is. Now, Scratch is used to make games and interactive animations using coding blocks that you see over here. I'm sure all of you must have played with coding with these colorful blocks that you place one on top of the other and to create a tower, right? So Scratch is just like that, where you move all these coding blocks one below the other and create some wonderful creation out of it. This middle section is our coding area. All right. So on the right hand side over here, we have the stage area. This is where all of our games will come into life. And the objects that we use in our game are called sprites. So for example, the maze backdrop and the beetle in our today's maze game are called the sprites of Scratch. Now the first step is just delete this cat by clicking this dustbin delete button over here, and that's it. With this, I'm going to mark step 1 as done. So Edge123 says that they've already made like 60 games. Don't worry, we are so excited that you've already made so many games, and we're going to make 100 more, okay? Okay, so many of you have done step number 1. Let's let's move to step number 2. Now we're going to upload the maze sprite. So to do that, just click on this sprite given over here. Right click and click on save image. Then we're going to save it anywhere on our laptop. So for example, I'm saving it in the download section over here. The next step, go to Scratch, click on choose a sprite option, and click on the Upload Sprite. In your laptop, go to the area where you have saved the download and double click on it. You'll see that the maze sprite is now available on your stage area. Drag it and bring it to the center of the stage. Here we go. You can also play around with the size given below the panel and increase or decrease the size. So I've made it a little bigger. I've given it 110 so as to make it a little bit bigger. With that, we complete step number 2. Alright guys, now we're going to go to step number 3 and add our beetle sprite. Another way to add a sprite is go to the sprite library and choose from the many sprites that Scratch provides us. You can either browse through the animals section over here, or you can also use the search bar and look for the beetle. So here we have our beetle, which is trying to crawl inside the maze right now. With this, we complete step number 3. All right, guys, please give the thumbs up if everything is going well till now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go to step number 4. Now you guys can see that the beetle is too big to crawl inside the maze. So what we're going to do is shrink the size of this beetle. To do that, we can use the size option available to us just below the stage area. So let's play around and see what size works for us. So I'm going to try with 70 and it's still too big. I'm going to try with 40 and looks like it's still too big. Let me teach you another way that we can change the size, and that is using the switch size, the set size block. Now Scratch has categorized all the coding blocks into various categories based on what the sprite wants to do. Anything related to how the sprite looks, like its color, its size, the graphics, it's all related in the looks block. Drag out the set size to block and now change it to 20 and click the block. Now it looks like a reasonable size and we'll change it later if we think it's still too big. Okay guys, with this I'm going to not mark the step number 4 as done because we also want to fix the position of the beetle. Now the x and y coordinates over here determine where this beetle is going to be on the stage. You can see that when I move the sprite, the x and y keep on changing. X and Y position mean that where the sprite is relatively on the X and the Y axis of the screen. So you can see that whenever I move the sprite vertically up and down, my Y coordinates change by a huge margin. Whenever I move it horizontally, my X coordinates change by a huge margin. So place it in the beginning of the maze opening, and this is where we want to keep it. Go to motion and drag out the go to XY block. This is where you have positioned your beetle currently. Drag it out and join it with the set size block. Now go to events and drag out the when green flag click blocked. What this is going to do is that no matter what the size and what the position of my beetle is, when the green flag is clicked, it's going to set the size to 20 and the position to x coordinate minus 171 and y coordinate minus 69. Let's check it out. And yes, it works. With this, I'm going to set step number 4 as done. I'm going to give you guys a minute and wait for all you young coders to finish all these 4 steps. Okay, I see that Stunning M is giving me a really cool thumbs up. I'm glad you guys are getting it. So guys, what's your favorite game that you've played on your laptops and computers? I'm sure something more difficult than the maze game, but still, what's your favorite game? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys. Now I'm going to go to step number 5. And the next part is to move the beetle inside the maze. So we have our beautiful setup, we have the backdrop, we have the beetle, we have the size and the position. Now we have to move it. To do that, as I said before, we are going to use our arrow keys and go to event sections and drag out the when space key pressed block. So guys, I'm going to take a minute and tell you what are events. Event is anything which triggers another set of actions. So if I say, when you are hungry, you eat. When you are tired, you sleep. That means when the event of getting hungry is happening, it triggers a response that you eat. Similarly, when click on this drop down, when the up arrow key on your keyboard is pressed, we want to trigger the action of the beetle going upwards. Okay, to do that, we are going to change the Y block by some amount. Let me show you. Go to the motion block and drag out the move 10 steps block. Okay guys, now you can see that the beetle is moving 10 steps in the right hand side direction. Why is that happening? That is happening because currently our direction is set, as you can see on this arrow, towards the right side, which is at an angle of 90 degrees. You don't have to worry about what is an angle, what is 90 degrees. For now, just remember that every direction has a corresponding number, which is called an angle. And if we want to set the direction of the beetle, let me change the size and show it to you in a better way. If we want to change the direction, we have to move this direction angle. So if I want to make the beetle go up, I have to set it like this, which is 0 to be precise. And now you can see that move will make it move upwards. If the direction is here, the move will make it go to the top left. If it's something like this, it will make it go down towards the bottom left. So basically, move will just move your sprite in the direction which is mentioned over here. Okay, so we are going to change the direction spontaneously using the direction block, which is in the motion blocks. So drag it, and when the up arrow is pressed, first we want to change the direction of the beetle upwards, and then we want to move. So let's click the green flag. You can see when the green flag is clicked, okay, when the green flag is clicked, our beetle is pointing upwards. So yeah, it's working. If you have any doubts, please give me the thumbs down reaction, or please type your queries in the chat. Okay, so now let's complete the other directions. Now we are going to move in other directions. So drag out the when space key block again. Now let's go downwards this time. When down key arrow is pressed, now drag out the point in direction block again. Change the direction to go downwards this time, which is an angle of 180. And then we want to move in that downward direction again. Let's check it. And this works. Down arrow key is working, up arrow key is working. Now let's make it move left and right. Let me tell you a shortcut. Just right click on this code section and click on duplicate. And we are having a duplicate of this code section. Choose the right arrow and choose the right direction. Let's now test it. And this works perfectly. The only direction left now is the left direction. Let's duplicate this again and let's choose the left arrow key and let's choose the left direction and we're set to go. Now our beetle is freely moving in the maze in all the 4 directions. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to complete this step and marking this step as done. Okay, so edge 1, 2, 3, I see that there is doubt. Could you please explain me in the chat portal what is exactly that is giving you an issue? And I'll explain the step again. Okay, guys, let me explain the step again. So when we want to move the beetle in the upward direction, we will go to the when up arrow key pressed block and we will point in the upward direction and then move. Similarly, when we want to go in the downwards direction, we will point in the direction which is downwards and then move. Similarly, when we want to move the right, we will point to the right and then move. And when we want to move to the left, we will point in the left direction and then move. We are doing this so that we can move freely in all directions of the maze. Okay. All right. I see that many of you have done step 4. Couple of you have done step 5 as well. That's great. So, okay, Sean has done it. Very good. All right, guys, I'm gonna now move in towards the next step, which is we are going to make some limitations for the beetle because as we know, we do not want it to move across the boundaries. We want it to just move within the boundaries of the maze. Okay, so there's something called sensing in the blue blocks. Now, guys, what happens when you touch a hot cup or something which is very hot? You immediately move your finger back, right? So what are you doing in that case? Your finger that is sensing the hot cup and then immediately moving that back. Okay? So our beetle needs to sense the black boundary. Whenever the beetle touches the black boundary of the maze, it will sense that and then we'll say, oops, the program has an error and we'll move back. Okay, so let me show you what happens. Now, there is a block called sensing and drag out the first block, the first diamond shaped block, and in the drop down, choose the steps maze. Okay, now this drop down is going to show you all the sprites that you have in your game. So choose the steps. And this diamond shaped box is basically a yes or a no question. So you can see this says, is the beetle touching the steps maze? Steps maze is the name of our maze. So see, it says false. False means no, means untrue. Okay. If I make it to touch the maze, like now let me change the size. Okay. Now it's touching the maze and now it says true. Okay. We are going to make use of this question answer block, which we also call a boolean. Boolean means a yes or a no value. Okay, and so if the answer is yes, if the answer is true, we are going to move the beetle backwards. Okay, any doubts till now? Did you guys understand this diamond box? Please give me a thumbs up if you've understood what the diamond box means. Okay, guys. So, what I want to do is go to the control box and drag out an if then block. So, if you say if your finger is touching the hot cup, move the finger back, then move the finger back. So, similarly, the diamond shaped box goes into this empty diamond shaped box and it says if the beetle is touching the maze, then okay, let's say hello then. So see, it says hello. If it's not touching the block, then it won't say hello. Okay, so basically we don't want to say hello, we want it to move back, and to move back we are just going to move a negative of 10 steps backwards, so move minus 10 steps. So let's see, let's make it move back by touching it a little bit first. If the beetle is touching the maze, then move back. Okay, I hope you guys saw it. Let me make it touch again so that you guys can see it. And again. So you saw that the moving backwards action happened. Now, I don't want it to happen just once. I want it to happen throughout the course of the game. Okay, so for example, if I just put it over here and I start my code, you guys can see that it did not go backwards. And why did it not go backwards? Because right now, when the green flag is clicked, we set the size to 20, go to this position, and right now, if it is touching the maze, it will go back. So right now it is not touching the maze, right? So it did not go back and the code just stopped. We want that this condition of checking and moving back should happen throughout the course of the game. And for that, we go to control and drag out a forever block and put it inside this. That means whatever we put inside the forever block will keep on happening forever. Okay, let me just show you a simpler example. So for example, if I put the move 10 steps block and click on this, see, it forever kept on moving it without me doing anything. Okay, so now what will happen is forever, if the beetle is touching the black maze, it will go back steps. Let's check it again, guys. So now, yes, the code is working. And now if we go up, yes, it's working. And oops, we see that the beetle is stuck. So that means our size is a little too big to go from here, guys. And we have to play around with the code and set a little smaller size. Let me try 15 and let's see now. Yes, this works. Now this works. Let me try and go all the way to the end. And this seems to be working. Guys, if you have set your maze to a bigger size, then please adjust the size of the beetle accordingly. Your beetle should be able to cross the entire maze without any issue and keep on checking if it is going backwards if you touch the boundaries of the maze. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, I'm almost there, almost there, almost there. And yay, I have crossed the maze. So with that, I will mark the step is done. And I'll wait for you guys to reach till here and feel free to drop me a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a chat message if you guys have any other questions. Okay, so Edge123 says that anytime I almost make it, my characters go back to the start. Okay. If your characters are going back to the start, so see, we want the beetle to go to the start of the game in the beginning, and the rest of the times we have to make it go a little bit back. Huge number of steps going backward, we have to make only a small number. If you guys want to make the characters go to the beginning of the maze whenever the beetle touches the maze, then we can do that as well, but that will come under making the game more lucrative, improving the game. and we'll see that in a while how we can do that. Okay, if you can go through the walls. Okay, Eddie, 1, 2, 3. If you can go through the walls, uh, please follow step number 6, where I've taught where how you can stop the beetle from going through the walls and go backwards if it is touching the maze. So we have to use the forever block, and forever we have to check the condition. If it is touching the maze, then we have to move it backwards. Guys, remember to click this drop down and change the touching steps maze. You don't have to touch the mouse pointer, I'm sorry. You have to touch the steps maze, which is the name of your sprite. Excellent. I see that Shamay has completed step 6. Very good, guys. 3 of you have done it. And I'll just wait for a few more minutes so that the rest of you can also complete it. Guys, this is the first lesson today, so it is a little easy. And I know a lot of you may have been using Scratch games, may have been making Scratch games. So we will surely in each of our lessons, will be increasing the difficulty, the functionality that we have in our games. All right, and each week we plan to display the best project on the platform, whoever does it. And in a minute, we are going to discuss how to improve the game and how to share our projects with the Scratch community. So, how many of you have done Scratch games before? Why don't you type in chat and tell me? With time, we'll also see how to add sounds, backdrops, and other cool functionalities in our games as well. Okay, so next step, now that we've done the basic game, we'll discuss what all other examples we can do so as to make our game even more fun. Okay, guys. So first thing, let's discuss. We can add an ending sprite to our game. So for example, I'll just show you. Let's say the beetle wants to reach a home. Okay, so we can add a home button at the end and something like that. And when the beetle reaches the house over here, when it touches the house, we can say something like, hey, the beetle, I've reached my home, yippee, hurrah. We can say something like that. So that is one possibility. Other thing that we can do is we can make the game more challenging. So instead of going just 2 steps back, we can we can make the beetle come all the way to the beginning of the game if it makes a mistake. How do you think we can do that? If I want to make the beetle come all the way to the beginning of the maze, how do we adjust the code? Any thoughts, guys? For all of you wondering on how to go to the beginning of the game, it's very easy. So if it touches the maze, see, this was the starting point. Go to X this value and Y this value. Then instead of moving minus 10 steps, we just make it move back to this value. And you can see now that anytime that my beetle is touching the maze, it's going to the start value. All right, that'll just make the game harder and more challenging. The other ways to do it is to add lives. So we can have like 3 lives for the beetle. And if in those 3 lives, if it's not able to cross the maze, then we say, hey, you just lose. Okay. And we can add backdrops, we can add music, we can add different sounds if it touches the maze. So we have like a sounds section where you can explore some sounds. I leave that up to you guys to explore it. Okay, Stunning M, could you please explain me the doubt that you have so that we can do that step again? Okay, guys, waiting for you to respond me and complete your projects. Okay, once everyone has done these steps, the final step is to share your Scratch project. To do that, you can see that in step number 7, after step number 7, there is an option to share your project. So, so click on share your Scratch project. I hope you guys can see my screen. Click on share your project. This window will come up. Give a name to your project. So let's say I'm going to call it, Maze Puzzle. Then you can describe your project. So I can just say the beetle needs to cross the maze, and you can just say how it works. So you can say something like use arrow keys to move the beetle. And then this is the link of your project, which will appear by default. And once you've done that, click on share my project. Okay, guys, to do that, I'm sorry, you have to go to your Scratch project and click on this share button, which you see this orange share button. Once you click that, you will see a copy link button on the bottom right corner. Click on the copy link, copy the link, and then just paste your link over here. Once you paste it and click on share my project, then your project would have been submitted and we can see your projects on Coding Ireland's platform. All right. Also, when you share your project on Scratch, now your Scratch project is available in the Scratch community. When you click explore, uh, and if you search your project, it would appear over here. So this is Codeverse. This is our coding platform where all of your submissions would appear. Now, I encourage all of you to complete your projects, make it even more interesting through the improvements that we discussed, and submit your projects. And the one that I like the best, we will display it in the beginning of the next class. Don't worry, it will take a few moments to appear over here in Codeverse. And with that, I mark the improvement step is done. Okay, guys, if you have any doubt in your project, you can also share the link on the chat box, and I can go through your project right now and see where you are having troubles. So I see that three of you are on step 6. Guys, feel free to share your doubts with me. Those who've done the project, you can also paste your project links so that I can see them once if you want to share them with everyone over here. Okay, so that was all for today's lesson. And yeah, all of you did really well, I hope. And we are going to meet next time. And yes, I encourage all of you to join next time as well. We will have a new coding adventure with a new game waiting for you guys. Okay? Thank you so much. See you next time. Do remember to share your projects. Goodbye guys.